Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Rosen Rubini podcast, Making Sense of This World. This will be a special edition where we're live from the Belvedere Hotel in Davos against the sort of beautiful backdrop of the World Economic Forum's annual meetings in 2025. I mean, this is a historic week, Brunello, not just because of WEF, but also because on Monday this week, Donald Trump was inaugurated for his second term in office in the White House. Give me some of the backdrop to this inauguration.
So this inauguration took place during this week, in fact, on Monday, and everybody was talking about that here in Davos. But clearly, the big action was taking place in DC. This is effectively the second inauguration of Donald Trump, and we wanted to highlight the differences between the first one and the second one. The first one, Trump spoke to an almost empty, at least half empty mall. There's been thousands of discussions of how full the mall was and so on, but the pictures tell what the story was. Virtually nobody was there. Trump just won a very contested campaign against Hillary Clinton, who actually won the popular vote, but not the electoral college. As we know, Trump came out as divisive as possible, and his policies were at that time completely unorthodox, to some extent outrageous. Nobody was speaking about tariffs for the best part of the last couple of decades. So, that was Trump back then. He was also surprised by the victory. He wasn't expecting to win, and he gave it quite a incendiary speech. It talked about the American carnage because people were losing jobs to China and so on and so forth. It was Trump as we know. But clearly this week things were a bit different.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like this time around, the situation is completely different. The economic picture is completely different. And there's a legacy of the sort of Biden-Harris administration, which has left, frankly, many people disillusioned with the status quo, which led to the rise of Trump. So would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's been completely different. The reason I'll say in a second, the backdrop is the perceived economic situation in America being pretty poor, but that makes no sense. Every commentator, every senior analyst, anybody that can actually read numbers know that America's never been stronger than now. Biden has created dozens of millions of jobs. The unemployment rate is at historically low levels. Inflation has returned towards the central bank target. Salaries are increasing and catching up with the inflation of the couple previous years. And yes, the level of prices is very high. So are nominal salaries, though. And in terms of per capita income, the US almost doubles that of the richer European nations. So we are talking about an extraordinary economic machine for which Biden clearly has taken no credit. And Trump is inheriting all this. And this is a period in which he has shown that he has won with a sweeping victory. As we know, he got the House, he got the Senate, he has a majority in the Supreme Court, so effectively is already a de facto, let's use this word that he used in the past, dictator. He can do literally whatever he wants for the next couple of years until the midterms. And this was very well understood by the tech guys, who first of all decided to back his campaign. Elon Musk has put something like 200 to 250 million in Trump's campaign. Peter Thiel financed the campaign of J.D. Vance, the vice president. So, they bought themselves a very good spot in the White House. But this was just the beginning. And then all others in the tech industry understood that who's the boss in town. So Jeff Bezos was there. Mark Zuckerberg from Meta was there. People from Google, people from Apple. So everybody was there. And they understood that they cannot do without Trump in this second term. So things are quite different this time around.
Um, one of the sort of key issues at play here is exactly what Trump is going to do in the first couple of days in office. We've heard in the past that he would end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours. We've seen those 24 hours afterwards. As far as I know, the war is still going on. But there's a lot of other things on the agenda: economic policy, immigration, TikTok going offline just hours before the inauguration. I mean, what's the sort of the Trump's policy on some of these things? What are the first immediate changes that the world and investors have noticed?
So he signed almost 100 executive orders when, as soon as he was made, declaring emergency in Mexico just to start mass deportation, as he's promised. He withdrew the US from the World Health Organization, withdrew the US from the Paris Agreement, as he did in his first presidency. So, he has actually started delivering some of the promises that he has made during the electoral. Quite surprisingly, on one of his key policies, such as tariffs, he's been more moderate than expected, because instead of signing an executive order, he has signing a sort of declaration of principle. So to give himself space to go and negotiate with various countries what they can give him to avoid those tariffs, and equally giving these countries the chance to fly to Washington or potentially Mar-a-Lago and offer their services in exchange for no tariffs. So, Trump has started to follow suit with these promises. The inauguration speech was as incendiary and divisive potentially as the previous one, and this was epitomized by the picture, the official picture that Trump has released. In the first official picture that released in 2017, it was smiling. It was, kind of an institutional picture. And this one, instead, is effectively used the same pose that he had in the picture that was taken when he was arrested in New York. No smile, very angry face, showing, I'm not gonna make prisoners this time around. And if you are on my way, you're gonna be crushed. So that's effectively the image that he wants to give. And of course, this comes after the assassination attempt that he suffered, and the other iconic picture of fights. So is on a war path as ever before.
I mean, it sounds like just really in every sense of the word, this is not going to be a normal presidency. And one of the things that's exemplified that is Trump launching his own meme cryptocurrency on the eve of the inauguration. I mean, really, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, on any other inauguration, this would be totally unthinkable, realistically. But now this has sort of become the new normal. And so it'll be interesting to see how these norms for what a president can and can't do will shift rapidly over the next 4 years, but particularly over the next 4 months, as Trump makes sort of major moves on his sort of key policies, whether that's economic, immigration, foreign wars, or others. So, Brunello, much to watch over the months ahead.
Definitely, and I'm sure we'll have time and occasion to comment all of this. Thank you, and until next time.